Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here, and thank you to the faculty and students of IIM. Now, to the students of IIM, this is what I have to say. Competition got you here. Your competence got you here. But in your workplace, I think it is collaboration that will take you forward. The armed forces gets people, individuals together from every corner of the country and binds them together in small and large communities. And that is what I've come to talk to you about today, about teamwork. Who am I? I'm a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists are doctors who diagnose and treat illnesses relating to the functioning of the brain. I was commissioned in the Navy in 1989. I served almost 34 years there and have been seconded to the Indian Air Force. I am now a medical administrator. I am responsible for healthcare delivery in the entire Eastern Air Command, which has a footprint over 11 states, through all the station Medicare centers and the hospitals in this region. Let me tell you a story. It happened 3 weeks and 5 days ago. A 52-year-old walked into the station Medicare center at Shillong. And you know what? He complained. He complained of the fact that loose motions ठीक नहीं हो रहा है. The doctor took some clinical history and found that the previous day he had come back from leave in Delhi. Took his temperature, 102. Tested for dengue, positive. Tested for platelets, down to 10,000 per ml, very low. Immediately bundled him into an ambulance and rushed him to the military hospital at Shillong. There the physician, the medical specialist, retested and found the same results. Called up and told us, look, if he deteriorates further in this smaller hospital here, we do not have facilities for apheresis. Can you evacuate him to the larger hospital at Guwahati? That morning, an ALH, a chopper, an ALH, had landed at our helipad. So we said, stop. He was ready to go. We rushed him back through the patient, through Shillong traffic, to the helipad. At the same time, another medical officer fueled up another ambulance because the clouds were filling up the skies. 7/8 of the sky was covered in grey cloud and it was beginning to rain. The patient reached, got into the helicopter, the engine note changed and the pilot took off. Pierced that small lighter patch of sky to the west and was soon lost from sight. Within minutes, it started pouring rain. We had our fingers, eyes, toes crossed. The helicopter then reached Guwahati. 25 minutes later, I got a call. The patient is in ICU. He had landed in the forecourt of the hospital, rushed. The patient had been taken to the ICU without bothering about, admission, paperwork, etc. Till then he was stable. He started deteriorating. Petechiae, blood bleeding in the skin. He started getting ascites, that is fluid in the abdomen. All signs of multisystem failure. Immediately, blood donors were called for. 12 of them came through the night and fresh 12 RDPs, random donor platelet units, were given that night. 4 more next morning, 16 over the 24 hours, 28 over the next 3 days. and he walked out of hospital on the 7th day with nary a residue. You may say it was the triumph of good clinical suspicion, great decision making, absolute bravado by the pilot who chose to take off when the universe was screaming no. Medical technology which makes apheresis available today. I'd also say it's teamwork. It is teamwork that made this thing happen, because just having the technology or just having good clinical diagnosis is not enough. Let me tell you another story. I joined my first ship, the frigate INS Taragiri, in 1991. That frigate had the Seacat missile system on both sides, 2 VM-44 systems which have television mounted sights. And the other 298 of us depended on 2 18 to 20-year-olds on their eyesight, on their training, on their competence, on their ability to quickly respond to a situation were we ever to come under attack, so that they could fire our missiles. Now, we had to rely on their training. We couldn't keep cross-checking with them moment to moment. We depended on them, and they depended on us for other things. That, ladies and gentlemen, is teamwork on a daily basis. Another sea tenure many years later, 2nd of June 1999, the commissioning of the destroyer INS Mysore. This is happening during the Kargil conflict. That is the mighty Mysore. We sailed out immediately thereafter to prove our weapons so that we could be battle ready. Normally, when you fire your missiles, the entire fleet is around to do range clearance so that your missiles don't knock down another ship or a fishing boat, and you get all the publicity that you don't want. But that fleet was not available. They were busy in readiness for if Kargil were to escalate. So we went out, and everybody found new reserves and did new things, more things, and we did it on our own as one ship. What is typically the tasks of 5 or many. So, my point is, come the challenge, the team rises to it. We do more things. We find that we can do things we never dreamt of. The Indian education system, which I am also a product of through Kendriya Vidyalayas, emphasizes marks, positions, competition. That may not be the best thing to carry forward into our workplace. Why do I say that? I'm a psychiatrist, remember? These thoughts of competition become, am I good enough? That generates emotions of shame, of guilt, and then sadness. The thoughts of, am I doing enough? Generates emotions of anxiety. And we go on from there to doing things. Remember, the mind has 3 parts: thinking, feeling, doing. And we start doing things that are selfish, that are detrimental to the interests of the group. We start diminishing our empathy if we become unnecessarily competitive. My last assignment for over 3 years was at Armed Forces Medical College, Pune, where I was the professor and head of Department of Psychiatry. COVID had struck, and this was February 2020, where my brother, who's into medical informatics, came up with a certain idea. We got hold of a very capable physician, a rheumatologist, and also another epidemiologist, and the four of us, a team of disparate specialities, came up with possibly one of the first mathematical models of COVID in the country. When everybody was talking gloom and doom, we could say the maths is telling us something different. Further, the next year, when vaccines first came in and nobody was sure whether they worked or not, we could work with the entire team of the armed forces, 1.59 million of them, and we could assess the efficacy of the COVID vaccine, and we are all here today. It remains one of the largest COVID studies in the world, which I could never have done alone. It's a huge team of us which made it happen. In medicine, we know that medicine or the delivery of healthcare is a team game. The days of the lone wolf surgeon are far gone in the 19th century. Here, we make sure that we help each other, doctors, nurses, paramedics, various specialities, with the aim of healthful individuals and healthful communities. Take a look at this picture. It is of the new OT, Operation Theatre, in the Air Force Hospital at Johor, where you see the surgeon busy, the anesthetist helping him. But in the foreground, please look at the operating room assistant, who's making sure that the right instrument reaches the right person at the right time and is very free of infection. And even after the surgery, when the patient goes to the ward, if the hygienist has not done his work, then infection will ensure that great surgery has poor outcome. We always work as a team in medicine. That is me. I'm not a pilot. I'm standing in front of the magnificent Su-30, which I got a chance to fly in the back seat. The pilot was extremely capable, a qualified flying instructor, current by day and night in all weapons and sensors, the cutting edge of personnel in the armed forces, bravest of the brave. But to put him in air, it takes a lot of people who ensure that the engines are working, the sensors are fine, the avionics are ticking, the control surfaces are all in place. And once he rolls down the runway, accelerates, and takes to the air, there is a bunch of people from the air traffic control, then the fighter controllers, the radars, the AVACs, so many things which ensure that he is able to complete his mission. The armed forces is all about teamwork, as is life. The three services work together. We call it jointmanship. It is an emotion which ensures that all of us together are able to put our best foot forward. For the armed forces have only one task: to train in peace and win in war. There are no prizes for second place. So we have to do everything together to see that the most is done when it is required. So 5 axioms. You see Djokovic on the tennis court. But he's not alone. Behind him are the coach, the dietitian, the physiotherapist, and so many more. Some of you will even recognize Boris Becker. Each one of us brings specific, critical capabilities which cannot be replicated. That is the case we make for inclusion, for diversity. For somebody who may be a maverick in peacetime will win you the battle in war. And this is my Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief's favorite. Air Marshal Speedy Darkar, he tells us, It's smart to recognize each other's shortcomings so that the core ability is enhanced. My core ability may be to precisely deliver munitions 600 kilometers away. But if I'm concerned about base security, about my perimeter being breached, then I will not be able to do my job. Whereas the unit right next door, just across the wall, may have a core competence of delivering perimeter security. Let them do their job so that I can do my job better. It is not a zero-sum game. In pursuit of the larger goal, we always find the means to do more. In other words, it is not about whether the Air Force should get 4 squadrons of new aircraft or the Navy should get a new aircraft carrier. If it is truly important, the nation will not slice the pie. The nation will find a way to make a whole new pie. And everything that we need, we will get if we work as teams. Lastly, the 5th axiom. If aliens attack, all of Earth will be as one. So, let's begin that collaboration, even if in a small way, today. There is this give-get rule. If you give respect, you get respect. If you give trust, you get trust. But most importantly, you have to give before you get. It doesn't happen on its own. So, what will it take to be an effective team member? First of all, active listening, so we know the strengths, the constraints, and how the other person or the other unit fits in. Tolerance of differences, so that each one can bring their best as required. We have to know what is the greater good so that we can all work towards it. Each one of us brings different perspectives. Some are introverts. We have to encourage each one to speak up to get that perspective. And lastly, what we need perhaps most is a positive mindset, a can-do, will-do attitude that comes with determination and that brings pride. So I end with teamwork, apart from solitary work, will bring us force multipliers, will bring us strengths that we did not know existed. The human being is a social animal, and the social animal collaborates. All of human evolution has happened because of collaboration, of togetherness, of building communities. So ignoring that is not an option if you want to keep growing. From the armed forces, I bring you the mantra, the emotion of jointmanship. Work together, pull together, make more happen. And lastly, play the long game. Forget about short-term gains. Make things happen bigger together forever. Let's collaborate to win. I also got to ride in a hawk. Thank you.